1 week ago, Rwanda and the United Kingdom signed an agreement on migration and economic development. The 5-year deal calls for Rwanda to receive thousands of illegal immigrants sent by the UK for processing. Shortly before the signing of the agreement and right after, some controversy arose, with several people criticizing the plan, while others praised it, describing it as a good way to value humanity and a goal for Rwanda in contributing to global issues. While speaking virtually at the Rwanda Past and Present seminar at the Brown University, President Paul Kagame noted that it would be a mistake for people to make a conclusion that Rwanda was persuaded by money involved in the deal, but on the contrary, the country intends to help those seeking asylum.
This problem of dealing with immigrants does not start with what we arrived at as the deal between United Kingdom and Rwanda. It may as well, before that, but let me talk about 2018, when we helped to deal with the situation in Libya, where there are so many Africans mainly from different parts of the continent, but a big part from the West African part of the region. And these people were stuck in Libya. They were trying to cross into Europe. Some had already died trying to cross the Mediterranean. Others were kept in prison in Libya, in different cities of Libya. And they were really stuck, including the UNHCR. Everybody who was trying to deal with the problem had got stuck. So at that time, 2018, I was the chairman of the African Union. And when the issue came up to me, I said, well, we are not a rich country, we are not a big country, but there are solutions we can always help find and solve big problems. So we told those international institutions that are trying to deal with the problem, and the countries and the UN and so on, that why don't you actually bring these people to Rwanda? And 3 ways of dealing with it. When they come to Rwanda, we can even offer them to stay in Rwanda, because even if our standards of living and so on and so forth may not be the best in the world, nowhere near to that, certainly what we can provide these people is much better than being in a prison in Libya that has no government, that has nothing, and many of them were dying there, and is certainly better than trying to continue to Europe and end up dying in the Mediterranean. He said, certainly our standards would be much better than that. The second thing is they would process these people, those concerned, to take them to countries anywhere that would accept them, but coming from a stable situation like the one we would provide. Or they may even choose to say, we want to go back to our countries where we originated from, because over time we've learned that this is a very difficult situation and so on. We no longer want to go to Europe, or can't certainly want to be in Libya, and therefore they may choose to go back home. That's where it starts really. That's the offer, the deal to solve this problem starts at that time. In fact, the evidence is, right as we speak, there are some of those from Libya who have come in the recent months, and there are others, hundreds of them, that have been processed in these camps in Rwanda and taken to Canada, to different parts of Europe, France, the Scandinavian countries, even UK itself and the US. They've been, that has been happening.
President Paul Kagame said that Rwanda's agreement with the United Kingdom is rooted in the country's history and that it is not for any purpose other than the value for humanity.
So we were approached because of this history and because of what we managed of the Libyan case. And we said, of course, and what they were telling us was clear. They are having people being smuggled into the country. And by the way, here the problem is, there is one aspect of that is always highlighted at the expense of other things that need to be considered. That all these people who are going to Europe or to UK are people being persecuted in their own countries. That is partly true. But it is not all these cases that it applies to. Because some of them, and again here is the case, can afford to pay thousands of euros or dollars or pounds to be smuggled into these countries. So it would be mistaken for people to just make a conclusion, oh, Rwanda got money. It's not trading. We are not trading human beings, please. This is not the case. We are actually helping. And I've given you the background of where this comes from. And so UK naturally is going to provide resources to actually give some decent living to these people who will be here as they are processed either to go back to UK, or maybe UK may work with other countries to take some of them, and so on and so forth.
Rwanda currently accommodates about 130,000 refugees received from within the region in the Horn of Africa, Afghanistan, and other asylum seekers evacuated from Libya, among other people. Ethan Tashobia for RTV News.